Buddy to the Philly Guy Speaks, a special Monday night edition. A one-nighter here. At least we think it's a one-nighter here, unless I give you some big winner on Wednesday at Turf Paradise. And sometimes I believe you got to do things outside of your element. You got to get yourself into that uncomfortable territory. And this card, which I did not plan on what they had in store for me, encompasses 4 quarter horse races, which I can't wager on here in Pennsylvania, and 6 thoroughbred races. And then on top of that, those 10 races, as I grab my notes here, of those 10 races, those 4 quarter horse races, they're trial races, which basically means when you what these 4 races mean, what that means is the 10 fastest horses in those 4 races will advance to the final, whatever that is. I don't know when it is. It's sometime between, I imagine it's 3 weeks. That's usually the situation there. So just give you guys an idea. So I'm not too good with the with quarter horse racing, obviously, because it's not available to me in Pennsylvania. I can look at a program and do whatever, but I can pick winners I've done in the past. Like when I go to Vegas, I'll play Los Alamitos on a Saturday if I'm hanging over till Sunday, or if there's another track like Remington this time of the year, I'll play that. Just to get myself out of my usual element and do something different. And one thing I'll tell you guys is, even if you're even away in real life, it's good to get away from your comfortable element. This is what I'm doing here for you here. So just remember, when I do this this show and podcast, just remember, you're not paying for this. So this is a little fun exercise I'm going to do for you here. And if it leads you to winners, it's great. And if not, so be it. This is a fun little activity I'm doing because originally it was Play Action Reel that said, hey, you're going to give me some winners for Turf Paradise. Well, I said, yeah, sure. Just let me know when, and I'll do a special stream. Well, it turns out he can't go, but maybe if he tells his friends, hey, this guy is pretty good, believe what you want. We'll see if we can get you a couple of winners, give you some thoughts. I know I have a pick here where I think I can get you a very nice price on later on the thoroughbred portion of the card here, but we got to get to that first. But I'll go race by race here. And what I'm going to do for the most part here is I'm going to show my screen here. So those that are listening to this podcast in podcast form, I should say, when I upload it, when this is over, I do apologize that I'm going to be talking a lot about what you're going to be seeing on the screen here. So it's a little fun exercise here. Maybe I can hit something here for you. What I plan on doing is I'll give you the winner. I'll give you what I like in all 10 races. And what I'll do is I'll also give you the late pick 4. There's also the pick 6. And the pick 6 is a jackpot wager, which basically means is you got to hit all 6 races to win. However, in order to win the jackpot, which is the whole pot, what carries over to the next card on top of what is wagered into that card, you have to pick the winners in all 6 races. Well, I'm not going to give you that because I don't want to give you my pick 6. You're paying, you play the same pick 6 I do. Let's say we both hit. Guess what? We're not going to get that $130,000 because that'll just carry over, and you'll be saying, "Oh, that MF or Joe got that too." So, just give you an idea here. So, little fun exercise, and if you're watching after the fact, and if I give a couple of winners, maybe you would turn this into a weekend thing, or a Saturday morning thing, or whatever, or maybe whatever. But just a little fun thing we can have here because I'm about having fun. I like being out of my element here because Turf Paradise I watch on TVG, or I'm sorry, FanDuel TV, the old TVG channel. But I don't necessarily play it. So things will be a little interesting here because of the quarter horse races, which I can't bet on here in Pennsylvania, but maybe I can give you guys some ideas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing my screen here. So if anybody knocks, um, you know, I'm going to try to um, share that with you here. So let me go here so I can block most of this out. There we go. Let's see if I can do what I want to do here. Yes, good. Okay. So we got 10 races on the card. We're going to begin like they always do every racing day with race one. I know, smart ass me. Uh, anyways, we got 2-year-olds, which means that they were born sometime after the first of the year in 2021. And now the way that they classify horses in general, especially for those that are watching this for the first time, going to Turf Paradise, Play Action Reels friends, hey, you're gonna have days where you're gonna win, you're gonna have days you're gonna lose. Now, just to give you an idea, these first 4 races, they were all born in the year 2021. What they do in North America, all horses' birthdays are January 1st, whether you're born in January like the 1 horse was, or February like the 2 horse, or the 3 was born in March. They will tell you the month that these horses are born. Like, for example, the 6, he's a youngin. He's technically not even 2 years old, even though he's classified as a 2-year-old because the way North America classifies their horses in terms of age. So that gives you an idea of what's going on here. So we'll go with the first race here. And the horse that I like, as I go back on my notes here, because I typed this up last night, I was ready to go today. The horse I like here is the 2. That's Fly Through Arizona. Now, this horse pressed the lead, just couldn't gain on the winner. Okay. So you figure second start, has the advantage here over these other horses. The only horse that this horse would have the same type of advantage and maybe a little bit faster is the 4 Altuve. And Play Action Reels, I know if he was there for the first race on Wednesday, I'm sure he would bet this horse and not take the 2. He would take the 4 because it's Altuve. And you know what? As an amateur, okay, it's okay. You can play by name because sometimes that's what you do. Sometimes you play by name. Sometimes you do it because a horse took a dump right before they got into the gate. He took a dump in the paddock where they warm up the horses. Whatever. Whatever you do to make money. I'm somewhat proficient. I mean, I'll tell you that I'm somewhat proficient. Some people say, "Oh, where'd you see that?" I'm like, "Well, I like this." Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But in this case, I'm gonna take the 2 over the 4 here. The reason why I'm taking the 2 over the 4 years, in a matter of these 2 horses, the 2 did run a faster race last time out. Now that CW means there's a crosswind, and that helps you if you have a tailwind, which is TW, or headwind, HW. But I think this horse is going to be faster. He ran a faster race, and also he faced 7 out of the horses because there was 8 horses in that race. Altuve only faced 5 or 4 others. So, and he drifted in in that race as well. So there was no real issue from what I can see here with the 2. So I'm taking the 2 there to win over the 4. And these daily racing form programs that I'm looking at right now, sometimes you get some interesting information here. Like, for example, 16% of this trainer's horse is Eloy Navarro. He wins 16% of his races. Now, the combination of the jockey and the trainer this year at Turf Paradise, TUP is the abbreviation, he wins at 23%. And what up, Penguin AZ? Just going through these 10 races here. Spread the word to Play Action Reel. I think what I may do as well, I am going to upload this to my personal YouTube. And if anybody wants this as a private link that you can share around, feel free to hit me up. I'll send you that link. I gotta cut out the first 3 minutes because I played Mark Lindsay's Arizona. So just give you an idea of everything that's going on here. I'm looking at the first race here. So sometimes different programs give you different information. Some people, you may get money hitting the 1, you may get money hitting the 4, you may get money hitting the 2. I personally like the 2 because that was a faster race, even though he faced tougher. He faced more horses than the 4 did. So I'm going to go 2, 4, and 1 in the opener here at Turf Paradise. Race 2 is the second trial, and got 9 horses going. And I am going to go with the 5. Now, why am I going with the horse that finished dead last? That finished dead last in its previous race. Now, here's some things to look at here. They shut this down. They shut this horse down in the stretch, geared down. It's like, okay, well, let's make sure this horse doesn't hurt himself. Let's pull him up, whatever you do. And there's always another day. So, and I'm going to take my thoroughbred knowledge here. RP stands for Remington Park, which is a track in Oklahoma. A lot of time, I know this happens with thoroughbred horses. I'm going to take a swing at this with the quarter horses here. Probably just needed a race, and that was in a futurity. That's what a futurity trial, which that is. This is just a trial, but it's not a futurity race. Futurity race is basically the top race in terms of a 2-year-old. So I'm tossing that race. I'm going to give this horse another chance. Got a new trainer. Wins at 17% first time with first-time horses under his care. Wins 22% of the time with a horse that's a colder gelding. That's what that is, a gelding there. Dangerous combination here. Has won 30% of the time with the jockey here, Osuna, and has won, the combinations won 29% of the time last year and this year. So that's my pick here, Restless Fire. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe we get you guys some better price, a better price than that 4-1 odds. We'll see what happens there. Now, if you believe in what's called the transitive properties, if the 2 horse in the first race, I'm going to pull that back up here. If Fly Through Arizona wins this race, then going back to the second race, I encourage you to play the 6, First Blues Man, because this horse finished third by a length. He was a length and a half behind Fly Through Arizona there. They ran in the same race. Now, if Fly Through Arizona wins that first race, forget what I said about the 5. Play the 6, because that may be a race there where he ends up, it appears that he actually run a tougher race. So even though that's a tough race for that 5 horse for a first time out, I'll take a shot on that 6 if that Fly Through Arizona wins the first race. So I'm going to tell you the 5 right now, but don't be afraid to take the 6 if that Fly Through Arizona wins the first. And I'm going to go with the 7 here. Once again, the same trainer in the first race, Eloy Navarro, 16% winners first time out. Wins 23% with this jockey Carrillo, and 19% over the last year or so. So I'm going 5, 6, 7 here in the second race here, the second trial here. But if Fly Through Arizona wins it wins the first race, do not be afraid to flip to the 6 here in the second race here at Turf Paradise. Okay, third race, third trial. And I'm just scrolling up and down here. Now, I'm going to go with the 2 here, Flash Dash. Now, I'm getting the feeling that you're not going to get much in the way of a price. I'm about picking winners. And, sometimes you got to eat chalk, as they say, with this horse here. So, as you can see, none of these other horses have had a race. And, this time of year with quarter horse races, I remember hearing about Jason Beam, who has a podcast called the Jason Beam Horse Racing Podcast. He is also the track announcer at Tampa Bay Downs. He had a quarter horse card when he was briefly with Louisiana Downs. It was trial races like this one, like the beginning of this card is, but he had 16 races, and they were all 2-year-olds, and they all never ran before in a race. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play he has a current race. He has a race under his belt. He had the inside post, which is not a good thing in harness racing, because you want to be usually on the outside, because if you're on the outside, if you're the last horse to go into the gate on the outside, you only have to worry about a horse coming out on you. You don't have to worry about a horse coming back in. So, but this horse looks pretty fast here. As long as he gets out of that post pretty straight, he should win this again. For second, I'm going to go with the 8. Now, that's a pretty fast quarter mile there, 11-4, especially for a 2-year-old. Especially when 2 days earlier you went 2:20 and 13 seconds. So you gained a second here. So you might have been relaxing here. Might have been a little over energetic there. Who knows? The handicappers at Turf Paradise will probably have better reasoning behind it. But now the question is, will this translate into an actual race? We'll see. I'm going to pick him for second. And for third, I'm going to go with the 5, Fancy Lake Lily. That's a filly taking on the boys. But in this race, now what happens in a lot of these races when a filly takes on the boys, they usually get 5 pounds, but in this case she does not. But she ran fast here in this workout on the 19th. Had a close to the same workout here. I'm taking a shot here as well. Now, if you're a person that sees this horse pop up again for its second start, if she runs against if she runs against all fillies in the next time she runs, play her, because sometimes when you face your own gender after facing the boys, that's usually a nice angle to play. But in this case, I'm still taking her to finish third. I just like that 2 way too much here. So I'm going 2.85 in the third at Turf Paradise. I almost said Tampa Bay Downs there because of that comment about Jason Beam. Race 4, final trial. Thank God, because then I can get into the thoroughbred races, which apparently I'm more adept at. But you don't want to know about my day at Parks today in terms of the horses. Final trial here, and I'm finally taking the advice I gave you in the last race. I'm going with the 2 here, the 9 here. Now, if somebody out there can tell me what SOR means, that will help me out a lot, because being that I'm in a state that does not have quarter horse races, I don't know what SOR means, but basically what that is, it's about the color of the horse. So I don't know what that stands for off the top of my head, but had some fast times here. However, even though this trainer is 0 for 13 against the with the jockey and 0 for 14 overall over the last year or so, I'm still going to take this horse at a nice price here, because I like that. I like that little work here the other day on the 26th. I'm going to take a shot here, 8-1, and will be a nice way to finish out that 4th race here. Now, the 8 horse. Now, if you want to flip here and go with the 8 instead of the 9, feel free to do so. If I were in Arizona, or if I were in Vegas, or I was in a state where I could wager on this, I would flip, and it all depends upon the field. But one interesting stat here, I mean, had some good times here. This is the biggie here. This trainer is 26% wins in trial races, what this type of race is. So wins at 20% first start. I probably should have said 8 over the 9, but I'm going to take a shot on the 9 though. But if you rather play the 8, feel free to do so. And that's what I'm going to go here. I'm going to go 9 over the 8. And then the 6 horse Favorite Butter bumped around it to start, closed well at the end. Gets a clean ride, maybe he wins. But either way, I'm going 9-8-6, close out the quarter horse portion of Turf Paradise here tonight. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we get to my cup of tea, the thoroughbreds. And this first race is a mile, which is basically 1 lap around the Turf Paradise main track. Now, some tricks here that I want to show you here, especially now that we have horses here that have run multiple races here. I like the 2 here, Winter Soldier. Now, you look at this. He's going from a sprint of 6 furlongs, which is 3/4 of a mile, going to a mile. Didn't do anything the last time out. I know some people say, the hell are you thinking, Joe? So the one thing you would see here, and depending on the program that you have, you may see these names in italics: Precedent and Bourbon and Water. Those italics mean that they won the next time out. sometimes you can take advantage of that information and run with it. Now, this horse is also dropping from a 12.5 tag in a 20 to 12.5 race down to a 4,500 tag here. So there is a major class drop here. So that may help this horse as well. Who knows? Maybe this 2-horse would like going 2 turns as opposed to 1 turn because you're going that extra distance. We'll see what happens here. I'm going to take a shot with this 2 as well in this race here. So second, I'm going to go with the 8, which is the heavy favorite, Super Creative. I think this is going to be even money or lower. I may be wrong. I'm never good at predicting what these odds are going to be. But you can see here, stalked here last time out, was a little bit behind the leaders, was right up there, gave up at the end. This race was about 3 lengths back. In the final 1/8 of a mile there, was only a half a length behind the leader, ended up losing by 1.25 lengths. Okay, not too bad. But I'm going to try to beat this horse. Why not? Sometimes you got to go with hunch feelings. You know, even though you may see a horse here, whether it's you may see that a horse may be, head and shoulders above the rest. But sometimes those little, F it. Sometimes that gets you those wins. So, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm trying to beat that 8. And for third, I'm going with the 4, which is Scratch Me. Long shot here. Does tend to hang. Was 4 wide on the turn. This race had a late bid here. One concern is this jockey is 1 for 43 at the meet. So, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not touching that horse." I'm going to take a shot throwing it in here. So I'm going to go 2-8-4 in the 5th here, the first thoroughbred race at Turf Paradise. Okay, 6th race at Turf Paradise. They are going 6.5 furlongs. And if you were standing here on the apron, you'll see that it starts way over here and it comes around like that. So for the 6th race, I am going with the 5 here. The 5 looks good on you though. 3-year-old. Got a little confused there because of it tells you when a horse was gelded, and it's run a couple of times as a gelding here. Has been running very well at Golden Gate the last 5 times out. Faded the last time out, but that was a 2-turn race. Comes back to 1 turn, and Golden Gate Fields, GG. That is a track in Northern California. A step up from Turf Paradise, so a little bit of a class relief there, even though it looks like he's running for basically the same price tag. And also that blue that you see here for these numbers, don't worry about these buyer numbers. I'm not going to get into that right now, and the A's here in blue, that tells you that those 6 races were on synthetic. And a lot of times the horses that come off of these races, they tend to be more fit. And also the fact this horse last ran about 2.5 weeks ago. So this horse should be ready to go. I expect this horse to be gunning for the lead, and who knows, maybe long gone in this race here. So I'm going with the 5 here to win. And also that 2 does the trainer does win 20% of the time with horses that are running under his name for the first time. Then I'm going with the with the 7, 6 shots of T. Shortens up here from 10.5, from a mile to 6.5 here. Has run well. Probably be stalking the 5 here, but had trouble here the last time out. Did not have a clean start. 2 back, was steadied or had a steady bid, so forget that idea. But either way, this horse should be right up there with the 5. I would not be surprised if this wins, but I'm taking the 5 here over the 7. And for third, going to go with the 1 here. I'm Mr. Shenanigan. He was showing his shenanigans here because he was fractious at the gate, which basically means sometimes you see these horses acting up here, and they refuse to go into a gate. They leap up. Whatever it is, they may be kicking the from the air behind them. Little things like that. Now, if this horse behaves, you could totally toss this race, because all this here is because he lost this race right at the start here. Step slow as well, fractious. He wasn't ready to race. Plain and simple. Now, does get the second race here, and the trainer's over 15, the jockey's 1 for 18. But you know what? Sometimes these numbers, even though you'll see zeros here, sometimes you do have horses that just come out of nowhere. So I'm going to take this horse for third in what is basically a 2-horse race here, in my opinion. Maybe the 6 gets involved, who knows? But the 6 does drop here. So if you want to throw the 6 in there for fourth, you can. So I'm going to go 5, 7, 1, 6 in the 6th at Turf Paradise. We go to the 7th. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. 7th race here. And we are looking at these horses going on the turf for the first time. They are going a mile here. So, and the one thing you'll see here when you're at Turf Paradise here is you have that little chute there. Sometimes these tracks do run these 1 mile races from the chute. Sometimes they start here on the main stretch. Parks likes to run on the main course here. They don't start here except for the 1 1/8, which would be the top of the stretch here, top of the chute. Sometimes you start 1 1/16 here. Turf Paradise would start over here. So you get the idea of how it's configured. Now, I'm going with the 3, which is Pharaoh's Prophecy. Pioneer of the Nile, which is American Pharaoh's father. But you look at these races, not even close here, not even close here, not even close here. I know what you're thinking. Joe, what are you selling me here? Now, sometimes when you have these programs like I have, you could do something like this. You'll see, 1, 2 races on the turf. Let me hit show all lines here. He's won at Gulfstream Park, which is a tough track to win at. Tampa Bay Downs can be a bear as well, but he did go bad as well. Ran a race at Presque Downs. And then after that, you see TDN, Thistledown, and you see MVR, Mahoning Valley. Thistledown and Mahoning Valley, they don't have a turf course. So he's forced to run the dirt, even though he did win on the dirt on January 2nd. Well, actually the mud there, because that means muddy. So I'm going to take a chance here because he has won 2 races on the turf. And when you look back on here, the two's won one. You know, you see these turf races. None of them are really exciting, but I'm going to take a shot here because there is some turf success here, and you may get a great price here. You may even get more to that 10-1. So I'm going with the 3 Pharaoh's Prophecy in an upset here. The 2 Willie the Cobbler's a favorite here, 8-5, which basically means for every $5 that you wager, you'll get $8 back, if it were that odds at the end. Now, this horse has run on the dirt the last 2 times out, just missed by a neck, 2 back, 1 easily last time out on the dirt, has won on the turf at Turf Paradise 3 back, and finished second 5 back there. And that was right before Christmas. This is going to be a tough horse to beat. I'm taking a shot here with what I saw there with Pharaoh's Prophecy way back down at the beginning of his career. But I would not be surprised if this 2 wins. If you want to play the 2, go right ahead. I'm going with the 3 here. And if I throw my money away, I throw my money away. But, you know, if you feel like you're more comfortable with the 2 there, with the way that the program sets up there, feel free to do so. For third, I'm going with the 6. Now, the 6 has run well on the turf at Turf Paradise. He's in the money 3 out of 6. Did 1 win, 2 seconds. And you can see here, you know, Willie the Cobbler, who he faced back in January, that was a dirt race. Closed well in that race there in January 25th. The 8th, a little late with the run there. Closed well here, missed by half a length. Closed well here, finished 4th. Not that great, but you know, still showing interest at the end. Dirt race, Fawcett. Likes that turf course there. Who knows? Maybe he wins at a fairly good price. And for the 4th pick, I'm going with 4 Cash Nova. This may be a horse that goes gate to wire here. Did pretty much that last week. The only reason why I don't have him closer to the top is because he did run last week. So I'm going 3, 2, 6, 4. Pharaoh's Prophecy, Willie the Cobbler, of good report, probably rapport, and Casanova in the 7th. Going to the 8th race here. And they are going 6 furlongs here. I am going with the 4 here, which is She's a Bossy Girl. I know a few of them. Anyways, you know, horse ran on the turf, finished 3rd, goes from the turf to the dirt. And sometimes when you see a horse going from turf to dirt, sometimes it's a nice angle to play because they may be closer to the pace because, you know, the turf, they run more in a herd because of the fact that that's their natural running instinct. You don't really have kickback from these horses, where on the dirt you get kickback from the dirt. So that's why on a dirt race you may not necessarily have them as close of a herd mentality as the turf races. But as you see here, 2 back, gave way, was pressured all the way around. 7.5 furlongs on the turf, led for a little bit, gave it up there. I'm taking a shot on her, runs a shorter distance, going 6 furlongs here. I'm going to take a shot on She's a Bossy Girl to win. Going to go to 6 here, which is Rattle Me. Now, one thing you can see here, see that in boldface? That means that they're facing each other again. And the same is case here with Rattle Me. You'll see She's a Bossy Girl in boldface there. This is probably a case where Julep Denial, I guess that's the name because they do truncate it a little bit. This horse did have trouble last time out. Check 3 wide, which basically means the jockey probably had to pull up because the horse was probably in a tight spot, pulled it up, reactionary by the jockey. I think that you're going to see, if it's not the 4, it's the 6 here. So if you think that a better opportunity to run a cleaner race, then this is your horse. I'm going with the 4 because I'm going with a different angle here. But sometimes in a short margin of difference at the finish between She's a Bossy Girl and Rattle Me, you may also think, oh, she can turn the tide and win that final half a length. So we'll see what happens there as well. So second choice is that 6 Rattle Me. Third choice is the 7. First start since last August, but those last 2 races were the summer meet at Del Mar, which is very tough racing. Even ran in a $50,000 race at Emerald Downs, the Seattle Stakes. At least I think that's a stake and not a handicap. Probably needed a break after that last race. Something may have gone wrong. Horse was eased last time out, stumbled at the start. Hit the gate the time before that and was wide all the way around. So this horse had some issues in the last 2 races. Gets a big break here going from Del Mar to Turf Paradise. And I'm going to take this horse to finish 3rd here. So I'm going 4, She's a Bossy Girl, 6, Rattle Me, 7, Crazy About You in the 8th at Turf Paradise. 9th race is their second and final turf race and the penultimate race of the card. And I am going with the 5. 5 is Guest Check. And this is a turf pro here. Should have an advantage here. Now, I did note here that Tempted Mission is going to gun for the lead. The 4, Yankee Humor, gun to the lead there. Brief, Speed, and then Eased. So this horse may go for the lead here, even though it hasn't run on the turf yet. Maybe this horse is meant to be on the turf. We'll see. It was first start off of second race. So you may see those 2 horses duel. And if you're one of these horses, like maybe the 2, my horse, the 5, where it's going to stalk, the 2's going to be closing. If you got one of these horses that is up there at the end, you're going to see somebody flying at the end. So I'm going with the 5 here. Now, the 6, wrong spot. Now, this looks like it could be a chance that this horse can replicate. Now, I'm not sure about these. Like, for example, you see Mrazek, you see Blame the Agent. I don't know much about these horses when it comes to breeding, because some horses you see, I see them, I say, oh, that horse is a turf horse. That horse is a dirt horse. I don't know about this horse in terms of its pedigree. But the way that reads here, this horse was way back, made a run here, caught up to the field, was only a length behind the leader, and then I'm pointing by half a length. That's a type of race that you may see the horse replicate on the turf, and that's why I'm putting it in for second here. And I am going with the 2. Only horse to win on turf. Let me scroll up to there. The only horse that won on turf, but that's 2 back. Didn't show much last time out, but let's see. So maybe, I mean, this horse could close as well, may set up for him. So I'm going 5, 6, and 2 in the finale, the 9th race. 10th and final, they're going 5.5 furlongs here. Let me go to that race here. I am going with the 7. I'm looking here for some of these other horses. The 6 is going to be stalking. That's not going to, I don't think that horse is going to be on the lead, even though he was in a quirky track, Rayito, which is a 5 furlong track. 5 furlongs around. The 5, I don't think that goes for the lead. The 4 doesn't go for the lead there. The 3 maybe was close to the lead there and just dropped anchor. Mountain Pass wasn't even close there. Maybe the 1 goes with the 7, but he went 21-4, 22-1. This horse is shortening up as well. I'm going to take the 7 here to win. I think this horse could go gate the wire here. The 8, I'm a troublemaker. Toss that race because it's a quirky track. It's at 5/8 of a mile track. It's a bull ring, as they call it in a horse racing world. If it runs like it did 3 back in the mud, got a shot here. But, you know, even I'm going to toss this race, and who knows? Maybe you get a nice price on there if you're looking at the 8. Square footage, maybe. If a speed duel sets up between the 1 and the 7. But I'm going to say that the 7, the 1 finishes 3rd here. Did go gate the wire last time out. Does have the rail, but I still like the 7 better coming from the outside. Who knows? Maybe the 7 stalks instead it goes for a lead here because of the fact that it has to come over toward the rail here. So I'm going 7, 8, 1, and I'm going to throw in the 6 for 4th here. So 7, 8, 1, 6 in the finale. So, so if you're watching this or you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm going to give you my pick 4 for the last 4 races. I am going with, in the 7th race, I'm going 2, 3, 4, and 6. That's 2, 3, 4, and 6 in race 7. I'm going 4, 6, and 7 in the 8th race. I'm going the 5 as a single here in the 9th because I think that he's got the advantage here in that turf race to pick up the pieces there. And I'm going 1, 7, and 8 in the finale. So 2, 3, 4, 6 with 4, 6, 7 with 5 with 1, 7, 8. And if you've got any questions, you can always hit me up. Joe at bleacherbrothers.com. Once again, that's Joe, Joe, at bleacherbrothers.com. I will check my email, and if you have any thoughts or whatever, feel free to let me know. So that is it for now, and we'll see if I picked any winners for you here. So a little fun activity I did here. Hopefully some of Play Action Reel's friends can get some winners here. And if not, just remember, this is a free and fun exercise. And if I don't hit anything and you don't hit anything, it was free. It was free information. So, and if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, so be it. But a little fun activity here tonight, little added podcast and stream here on nofilter.net. I will be back with my normal show tomorrow night at 9:15 Eastern Time. Tune in at nofilter.net. I want to thank you all for watching. Good luck Wednesday at Turf Paradise. And have a great night, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening.